All right, so today we're tackling a giant, Marriott. We're going to break down how this massive empire was built, and let me tell you, it's not by following the usual rule book. The secret here is probably not what you're thinking.
So let's just think about this for a second. If I asked you right now, what does it take to build a global hotel empire? What would you say? Thousands of hotels all over the planet. What's the magic formula?
Right. And I bet most of us would say pretty much the same thing. You gotta have those gorgeous luxury buildings, right? In all the prime real estate spots. Then you throw a huge marketing budget at it, and you just expand like crazy, super aggressively. That's the playbook. That's how it's done.
But what if that playbook is just wrong? Or at least, not the whole story. Because the real story of Marriott, it's not really about the money or how fast they grew. It's about something totally different. It's not what they built. It's how they built it. It's about the system they absolutely perfected.
And to really get what that system is, we need to go way, way back to the beginning. And you might be surprised to hear it has absolutely nothing to do with hotels. Yeah, you heard that right. The Marriott Empire, this global giant, didn't kick off with some big fancy hotel. Nope. It started as a tiny little 9-stool root beer stand in Washington, D.C. And that beginning, it's everything. It's the whole key. Because the company's DNA, its very soul, wasn't forged in real estate deals or high finance. It was forged in face-to-face, frontline customer service. And that's the foundation right there. Everything they learned from that little stand became their North Star. I'm talking about an obsession with the tiny details, putting amazing service way ahead of making a quick profit. And, crucially, building a culture where the employees actually felt respected and valued. Their brand wasn't built by some slick ad campaign. It was built one customer at a time through a super consistent and reliable experience.
Okay, so the big question is, how on earth do you take the culture of a tiny root beer stand and scale it up to a global hotel empire? Well, that's where their blueprint for expansion comes in. Let's break it down.
This is where things get really, really smart. See, the old way of doing things in the hotel business was simple. You owned the buildings. But that's a huge financial risk, right? It's slow. It costs a ton of money. And if the economy tanks, you're in big trouble. Marriott, they made a brilliant pivot. They said, forget owning the buildings, we're going to manage and franchise them. This simple switch cut their risk way down, let them grow super fast and flexibly, and basically made them recession-proof. It was a game changer.
And you have to understand, this wasn't some reckless grow-at-all-costs gamble. This was incredibly strategic. By splitting the real estate from the actual hotel operations, they created this amazing machine that could grow like wildfire without getting burned. It was smart, sustainable growth, not just blind ambition. But even that brilliant business model would have totally failed without one other crucial piece of the puzzle. Because Marriott's most valuable asset, it's not a single hotel building. It's the people. And it all comes down to this one quote from Bill Marriott. This is it. This is the heart of the whole company. Take care of your employees, and they'll take care of your customers, and the customers will keep coming back. It's so simple, but so powerful. It's a direct line from happy employees to happy customers to a successful business. Look, a lot of companies have nice-sounding philosophies, right? But they're just words on a poster. The difference with Marriott is they actually built a system around it. It became an operational machine. They were super selective about who they hired. They put them through intense training to make sure excellence was the standard. They had crystal clear ways to measure success. And, this is key, they promoted from within. They weren't just filling jobs, they were building careers from the ground up. And here's the real test, right? The true test of a company's culture isn't what they say in the good times. It's what they do in a crisis. When things get tough, a lot of companies see their people as the first expense to cut. But for Marriott, that philosophy meant their people were the core asset you had to protect, no matter what. So you've got this smart strategy, and you've got this amazing culture. What's the glue that holds it all together? It's one word: discipline. Just relentless, day in, day out discipline. And this started at the very top. Leadership wasn't some abstract thing happening in a boardroom. Bill Marriott was famous for this. He was constantly on the road, visiting hotels, talking to the housekeepers, the bellhops, the front desk staff. He wasn't just looking at reports, he was living the real-world operation. He had to know what was actually happening on the ground. Here's a good way to think about it. Think about Warren Buffett. What's his secret? It's investment discipline, right? A rock-solid, unshakable philosophy about how to invest money.
Well, for Bell Marriott, it's the exact same idea, just applied to something different. The secret is operational discipline. It's this deep, deep commitment to getting the small things right every single time in thousands of different hotels.
So when you look at the whole picture, you realize this massive empire wasn't built on one big genius idea. It was built on thousands and thousands of tiny little decisions, all done right day after day after day. How you train an employee, how you greet a guest, that relentless consistency, that's the secret sauce. And that really leaves us with one final powerful question. The lesson here isn't really about wanting to be big, it's about something much harder. It's asking yourself, do I have the discipline to actually build the system? And maybe even more important, do I have the patience to protect the culture that makes it all work?